Now by the Democratic Congresswoman Maxine Dexter. Welcome, Congresswoman, state of Oregon, live from the Capitol. Maybe you've heard some of this, but even if you haven't heard it here, you've heard it elsewhere, the back and forth today about all of this. So why not, as Democrats, agree to open up the government short term and have that longer term conversation about health care and other things? That's what the Republicans say is necessary. What do you say?
Yeah, let me just be clear. The Republicans are the ones in charge. They're in charge of the White House, the Senate, the House. It was their decision not to negotiate before the government shut down. So we are standing ready to come to a decision that will center the American people over billionaires. Whenever they're ready to negotiate, we're ready to come to an agreement to reopen the government.
So the Vice President of the United States showed up today at in the briefing room at the White House with the press secretary, took questions from reporters, gave the White House side of the story. Here's a clip from J.D. Vance earlier in the day.
Despite the fact that the overwhelming majority of congressional Republicans and even a few moderate Democrats supported opening the government, the Chuck Schumer AOC wing of the Democratic Party shut down the government because they said to us, we will open the government, but only if you give billions of dollars of funding for health care for illegal aliens. That's a ridiculous proposition.
What about that? Why would you not be with, Senator Fetterman? And I know there's some, maybe a couple moderate members of the House as well on the Democratic side who did vote to keep it open.
I'll just say it again. We did not shut down the government. The Republicans have not been at the table bringing us into the negotiations. They need 60 votes in the Senate. So there is no debate here on whose responsibility that the government is shut down. And then just to take on this misinformation that the vice president is perpetuating around illegal aliens getting health care, that's already illegal. That is misinformation. Right. There are no undocumented immigrants getting health care out of this negotiation. No,
I want to talk about that. Thank you for bringing it up. As I said, you're right. It's already illegal. I think what's being discussed here, if I have it right, is in the tax bill on the Republican side of that. There was the eligibility that was revoked for people who they describe as lawfully present. That's the legal term that's used, I believe, or in the law. So that would be like refugees, people that are asylum seekers, some visa holders, and I think that's what they're talking about, as well as emergency care.
That may be part of another negotiation, but what we are holding the line on is what is preeminent on Americans' minds right now who are getting these notices that their premiums are going up 75 to 150%. They need to be able to afford their health care. As many as 5 million Americans will have to opt out if they can't afford it. So that is the affordability issue immediately. And then Medicaid, absolutely. The cuts to Medicaid are something that needs to be addressed. But this is Medicaid for working families. We need to make sure that our small businesses can continue to stay open and have a healthy workforce. Like, I'm not going to get into the weeds of what J.D. Vance and others are talking about. What I'm holding the line on is affordability, healthcare access, and then enforceability. None of this matters if Russell Vought and Donald Trump can just create rescissions on whatever we pass. It needs to be ironclad.
What about that? Because Vought is the OMB director, says, the job cuts are coming in, 2 or 3 days. In the past, we've seen furloughs, and then people come back to work, and many times they get their back pay and everything else. I mean, those could be some constituents of yours, or certainly of other members as well, that potentially could lose their jobs on a permanent basis. So I guess one of the questions would be, how long are you willing to keep this going for? And how long do you think it will last?
I'm just going to say it again. This is the Republican shutdown. They are not centering Americans. And let also be clear here, Donald Trump has already fired tens of thousands of federal workers. He doesn't need a government shutdown to do this. This is a threat tactic that he is using to leverage support from the American people, using fear and division, which is kind of his modus operandi these days. So let's not scare the American people by perpetuating misinformation. The furloughs that are standard is what should happen. If Donald Trump decides to fire people, he said it himself that he wants to take action against his political enemies.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.